Hello! Tonight I'm being joined by Dr. Garcia from Clinica Tambra in Madrid, Spain, and we're going to be talking about PGT, pre-implantation genetic testing, or PGD, as you may know it as. So if you've got any questions as we start to talk, then please feel free to ask away. She is the medical director of Clinica Tambra and is obviously very experienced in this area. PGT is an area which we asked you guys about. We said, what do you want to know more about? And this came up trump. So I'm just going to invite her to join now. Bear with me, please. Hopefully the internet connection will be okay. Hello to everyone who's joining. Have your questions at the ready and please jump in with questions as we go through. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. I've just done a brief introduction, but if you could please let everyone who's watching know who you are, a bit about Clinica Tambra, and then we can talk about PGT.
That's perfect. So, I'm Dr. Garcia. I'm medical director at Tambra Fertility Clinics in Madrid, and we're working for more than 40 years with reproductive treatments, and we're here to talk about genetic screening and genetic diagnosis and to help a little bit about all the possible questions you may have.
Okay, perfect. And actually, the team at Clinica Tambra, yourself included, have written a very insightful article which we've just published on Fertility Help Hub, which people can go to the link in my bio to read. And that covers in depth a lot of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. So maybe, I feel like there's a bit of interference in the background. Can everyone hear me okay? There we go, it's echoing a bit. So the main thing is to talk about the acronyms, so people understand what it is exactly. They may have heard of PGD, for example. And then also to talk about why people might have the testing done, who it might help, what the process is, and how it might help success and what the cost might be. Those are the main questions that seem to be coming our way. So if you could please start by talking a bit about what it is, then we can go from there.
Of course, I will be very happy to help you with all these doubts about this kind of treatment. So PGD in general, it's referred to the treatment where embryos before transferring will be carried out a biopsy, usually in day 5, but also it could be in day 3, but it right now it's more common on day 5,
okay,
on the blastocyst stage. So this is the general genetic screening when we're referring to PGD or PGT. Okay, then we have different particular types of PGD. We have the PGS or PGTA, which is the genetic screening or the genetic testing for aneuploidies. That's the acronyms. And this is to review if embryos have any abnormalities referring for chromosomes disorders. We know that a human is not a very good animal in terms of reproductive success rates. And the main issue is that we have lots of eggs coming from women of more than 40, more than 38 years old, and even younger, where some abnormality in the eggs could be transferred into the embryo, or also coming from the sperm, of course, and it could be an embryo with abnormal chromosomes, what it's called the aneuploid embryo. And of course, this embryo will lead to implantation failure or miscarriage.
Okay. So that leads me on to the next question before we talk about what's involved in the process. Who kind of benefits from pre-implantation genetic testing?
So usually women having one round of IVF failures. Okay, so all embryos that have been transferred and did not implant. So that's good opportunity to know if embryos before transferring are right, or if by contrast all embryos are abnormal, so then we cannot go with another embryo transfer and we know what is where the cause is.
Okay, so how how many failed rounds would that normally be? Would it be a couple before you'd start to think, okay, something might need testing here?
Correct. It really depends on the ovarian reserve and the blastocyst achieved with the previous IVF cycle. But usually when we need to go for another round after 2 or 3 blastocysts transferred and we have not been successful, then if we need to go for another round of ovarian stimulation, then we strongly recommend PGS, so the genetic screening.
Okay, okay. And what's involved? What happens to the embryos?
So the embryo at the stage of blastocyst has 2 parts, the inner cell mass and the trophoectoderm. So in the external part, this trophoectoderm, that will be the placenta in the future, not the real embryo, we will do a biopsy, doing a little hole with laser of new technology, and then we will select 5 to 10 cells, and we will send to the genetic laboratory to study more in depth the chromosomes of these cells.
Okay. And how long does that process normally take?
The biopsy is very quick, so it's more to do with the time when it really needs to be carried out, because some embryos needs to have this biopsy on day 5, others need to have it on day 6 because they have not been yet a blastocyst expanded. So the moment itself, it's really quick. It's around 10 to 30 minutes, so it's not longer.
And
yeah, it's very quick.
Gosh, that is so quick. I didn't realize it was that quick. And is there a risk to the embryos with doing the screening?
Of course, we know that always there is a risk in any test that we're going to practice. That's the reason why we need to select very good laboratories with long experience, with the best technology. And the point is that we have 2 options for the genetic screening. The 24 hours results, which is more expensive, and also it has not good prognostics. So we do normally prefer the traditional protocol, which is to freeze the embryos after the biopsy and remain until 3 weeks where the results will come back to us.
Okay.
And this is the major point, that the embryo after the biopsy needs to be frozen and then needs to survive the thawing.
Okay. Actually, Sophie, who's watching, has just asked, can you do genetic testing once embryos have been frozen?
Sorry, can you just say it again?
Someone has asked, can you do genetic testing once embryos have been frozen?
Technically, yes, you can do it. So we have some patients just transferring after the first round of IVF, and they just became desperate and frustrated because we don't achieve that, and the other major causes such as thrombophilia or immunological disorders or uterine abnormalities are right. The point is that technically it is possible, we can do the thawing, do the biopsy, but the results are not pretty good in terms of implantation.
Okay.
So technically yes, but not recommended.
Okay, that's good to know. And what would you say is the average age of someone who might need to consider PGT or PGS?
Can you just say it again because of the connection problems?
I think there's a bit of interference. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what's happening with the quality. Are you struggling to hear me? Is there a bit of an echo?
I can hear you, but there was a problem when you were doing the question.
Okay, so I just asked, what would be the average age of the patient who you might suggest might benefit from PGS, or is it just case-by-case basis?
So usually when a patient is more than 38 years old, we do strongly recommend going for IVF PGS, or at least we explain what is PGS and what is the benefit of doing that, and also what is the risk of doing that.
Yeah.
So usually when they are more than 38, where the abnormalities in their eggs and their chromosomes in the embryos, the chromosomes could just be more abnormal, then we just recommend to all women.
Okay. I'm sorry, I can hear so much interference from my end. I don't know what's happening. What I'm going to suggest is dialing out and dialing back in, and we'll finish the conversation. So if you're joining, please join us in 2 minutes, and hopefully the tech will be on our side.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.